Amphibia Season 3 is quickly approaching, and within this upcoming run of episodes lies the answer to a burning question fans have had for months. What is the fate of Marcy Wu? The insightful adventurer was called out on a startling revelation in true colors, pinned as the one responsible for sending herself, Anne, and Sasha to Amphibia in the first place. Initially reading about the Calamity Box in a journal before coercing Anne into stealing it after learning her dad got a new job, which in return would force Marcy to relocate out of state. Shortly after Andrias dropped his truth bomb, everything went off the rails, as Anne tapped into her Calamity powers, unleashing the blue-hued Super Anne. And while Andrias was preoccupied, Marcy took it upon herself to remove the box from Andrias' control, creating a portal to Earth for Anne and the planters to escape through. But Marcy herself would be tragically struck down by Andrias, impaled right through the chest, tears in her eyes before collapsing to the ground. Whether or not Marcy survived would have been left up in the air, but the episode's premiere attached to Season 3 opening as a post-credit scene of sorts, cluing us in that Marcy isn't dead quite yet, as her unconscious body is being held within a tank, which looks very similar to the rejuvenation chamber from Dragon Ball, in the clutches of Andrias and the dark entity underneath Utopia Castle. What are they planning to do with our precious Marmar? And could the future of this character have been hinted at all throughout the second season? Will Marcy become a pawn of the night, her body turned into a vessel? Before we continue, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Roundtable to stay in the loop of all things Amphibia and give us the good chemicals. Let's start by piecing together all the foreshadowing in Season 2 pertaining to Marcy, her death, and a possible transformation or possession. Marcy at the Gates features Marcy's cape setting on fire numerous times, even if for no reason. We had the montage on Earth in the past, where Sasha remarks that one day Marcy would get herself killed, and in general, Anne's big concern throughout this episode was that Marcy would be more focused on the excitement of her adventures than being aware of her surroundings and straying away from danger, a fear that was ultimately true to the reality of their situation, as Andrias ensured Marcy did just that, getting her swept up in the fabricated fantasy he presented Amphibia to her as in order to gain her trust and have the Calamity Box returned to him fully charged. The sleepover to end all sleepovers introduced the Scared Journal, in which Marcy's name was written with illustrations of skulls, crossbones, a Frankenstein-esque ghost, a hand rising from the dirt like a zombie, her back exploded in Maddie and Marcy. But this heartbreaking cliffhanger can't be the only thing they are quietly preparing us for. What comes next for Marcy has also been hidden in plain sight, and it comes in Marcy's association with moths, butterflies, and the process of metamorphosis. Briefly, in the sleepover to end all sleepovers, there's an ominous lingering shot of a moth over Marcy's reflection, particularly her mouth, evoking a Silence of the Lambs-like image. Now, moths often symbolize rebirth, change, transformation, resurrection, and the power of regeneration. Now, how many of those would apply to Marcy in her current state? All of them? Not to mention Marcy's getup in Battle of the Bands is butterfly-themed. And what does Marcy herself say in this episode?
And I'm the personification of metamorphosis!
Metamorphosis, of course, is a developmental change in the animal, like a tadpole evolving into a frog, or of course, a caterpillar to a butterfly or moth, which, when applying just to Amphibia alone, we've seen before of Domino too, going from an unsuspecting, cute killapillar to a vicious butterfly-like monster, one that Anne had to set free. A being that gained Anne's trust before blindsiding her with a startling betrayal. Metamorphosis can also be defined as a great change in character, perhaps involving a character arc? Like, let's say someone has to, I don't know, confront the uncomfortable reality of the situation and let go of the escapism they immerse themselves in to the detriment of others.
Can you close off your feelings so you don't get crippled by the moral ambiguity of your violent action?
Just spitballing. Alright, so where am I going with this? Well, I believe Season 3 will see Marcy endure two big changes both physically and mentally. The first being a possession by Mr. Monster Guy right here, Marcy serving as a vessel it can walk, talk, and destroy through. And the second change in the form of Marcy overcoming her toxic traits and fully blooming into a stronger, matured person. Now, the possession for the night just makes complete sense, and arguably foreshadowed with that moth over Marcy's mouth, as it's aligned in a way that makes Marcy appear as if she has monstrous teeth, and the lower half of its wings resemble the two bottom eyes of the creature. Not to mention, at the moment, this is probably the best move Andrias could make. A huge goal in manipulating the girls to recharge the Calamity Box was undoing the prophecy that we see at the end of the theme song, and partially in the first temple. However, Anne's anime moment proved to Andrias that the prophecy hasn't failed just yet, as at least one of the girls remained connected to the stones, which likely keeps the door open for Sasha and Marcy to be reconnected. On top of that, Anne is on Earth, and we know Sasha will likely escape with Grime and lead a rebellion. Marcy is the only one in his grasp, and by taking control of her, he ensures that even if Marcy's reconnected to the stone, he'll have the advantage. If Marcy's body is able to power up, but she's not the one steering the ship, that's practically another super weapon at the disposal of Andrias' fingertips. Narratively, we need to get to know this endgame villain on a personal level a little bit before a big final showdown. Not only would possessing a fan-favorite character serve as a chilling, proper introduction, but there's so much we'd be able to infer about the knight through the body language, cadence, and quirks being displayed through Marcy's body. We could get a great sense of what this being is truly like within a limited span of time. Because I'd hope Marcy wouldn't be possessed for too long. The audience has suffered enough. During this stage of Marcy's metaphorical metamorphosis, try saying that 3 times fast, her design would take on a darker color scheme that resembles that of a moth. I imagine she'd be wearing new digs as opposed to her old armor. Perhaps new, monochromatic armor that Andrias has created for his master's new vessel. And as I speculated in my previous theory on Sasha and Marcy's calamity forms, I got a feeling Marcy and the Knight might have abilities centered around the mind. Whether that be mind control, telekinesis, or anything along those lines. So I believe when it comes down to it, Marcy will have to play a role in reclaiming her body, putting her brain to the ultimate test. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if she has a confrontation within the mind that mirrors Anne's trial in the Second Temple. And once Marcy comes to terms with her mistakes and properly returns into the story, in control of her body once more, she could have a colorful green look that'll reflect her character arc coming full circle. Perhaps if she does wear monochromatic armor under the Knight's possession, the armor could become imbued with a beautiful green color once she awakens. Ultimately, Anne and Sasha had at least one outfit change during their time in Amphibia. Anne going from her school uniform to the addition of the chest plate, and Sasha going from her uniform to brown armor to red armor. These costume changes reflecting the progression of their character arcs. Whereas Marcy, since her present-day introduction in Amphibia, has only worn her staple armor, which was also speculated to be her old school uniform repurposed. And Marcy's armor kind of reflects her need for escapism. So to adopt new armor could signify Marcy embracing change in her life and putting the needs of others before herself. A change in appearance will complete her metamorphosis. But as always, these are my thoughts and I want to hear yours. What do you think? Do you believe Marcy will be possessed by the Knight? And if so, how do you see things going down? Let us know in the comments below or tweet to us at Roundtable Vids, and you can find me on Ostrich Fox. We're also on Instagram. Follow me for memes. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching and I hope you have an awesome day. See ya!